Welcome to Trek Trav. I am Trav. He is Ribbit. This is the almighty Koala God. And this is Star Trek Voyager Season 1, Episode 10 by Netflix, but 9 by... Who cares?
No, it's 10 by Amazon Prime, which is also... That's actually Paramount, so that's Paramount's thing. And then it's 9 if you're on Netflix.
Anyways, this is the episode Prime Factors.
Oh.
So its opening is really good. I actually really liked just having the crew sitting down, having normal talk.
Yeah, it seemed like that the two crews were coming together. And
and
that was the point of that.
Like the Delaney sisters is brought up for the first time.
Second time. They were brought up in the first episode, I think.
Maybe. Seska's there having a chat with B'Elanna, and they're all having conversations. Janeway's talking to Tuvok, just like, it's happening, they're blending, they're talking. And then the open, so the thing that's meant to rip you into the episode, is they get a hail from a ship that goes.
No, it's a distress signal, and then it goes to credits.
No, so distress signal. They answer. The guy goes, "We're not in distress. You are."
Yeah.
And then it goes to the cold open. I've watched a lot of shows. Is a hail saying that you guys are slightly depressed a real thing, a good thing?
I don't know, maybe. They seem like this culture is far more advanced than the Federation.
So this culture, which is from Sakaris, the planet Sakaris, they're talking to the leader whose name is Gath or something. Gath, that's what I heard, I thought.
Yeah.
And Janeway's instantly flirting. She's instantly
she turns into a little schoolgirl all of a sudden. Yeah,
it's a what are we? We're at episode 10. She hasn't been away from Mark that long.
Yeah, but there's if you watch their interactions with each other, there's moments where it comes close, and you can see it in. It's not talked about, but you can see it in the acting and the way that Janeway reacts. Is no, this isn't right.
Yeah, well, she's a bit of a tart. Yeah, no, you do see that she's sort of umming and ahhing about it.
Yeah.
So when they go to Sakaris, they beam down, and the first thing I thought is, because the leader, Gath, walks Janeway up to these two poles with fabric on them, and I'm going, that happened in Farpoint Station in the first episode of TNG.
Yeah.
Does every planet just have, fabric hanging over poles and shit? And this is so soft. So what is fabric not soft on a lot of places they go to?
Well, I can't imagine the continuity street doing very good.
But it's just a weird thing. It's let's show this planet's a little bit different. They have fabric, and it's there's a million other ways to show that this is a different planet. But it kind of looked like Farpoint. It was very grey
Probably was.
Yeah, with a forest around it. So Harry immediately gets his romantic interest for the story, which is a woman named Udanya, and she's playing a big pointy instrument with a thingamabob.
Yeah.
And then she decides she wants to hear more of Harry's stories, and she takes him to a planet called Alastria.
Yep, she transports him, and then they have a euphoric buzz from the sun.
Horny wind.
A horny wind.
Horny wind.
Horny wind. Is that what you wrote down now?
Yeah,
horny wind.
I did write down horny wind. Because the show's she's the winds do a thing. And you see, it's horny wind.
Yes.
I want some horny wind. While they're on there, she goes, it's just before sunrise. And then he goes, hold on a second, there's two suns. And then...
Wait a minute. Just hold my beer. Yeah. What's going on here?
Sakaris only has one sun. He's but Sakaris only one sun. She's we're on this planet. And apparently the horny wind does nothing when you go, oh my God, we might have the option of getting home. And that's the true thing of this episode. He wants to get home.
Yeah.
And so she tells him that they've traveled 40,000 light years, which is half the distance home.
Yeah.
It'll cut 40 years off the trip. So he wants to get back to Janeway and tell them the shit.
That's it. So then there's a moment where he goes to Janeway and he says, hey, this is an amazing thing. And then the magistrate, Garth, is it?
Yeah.
He turns around and says, that's against our prime directive, basically.
You forget that Janeway was about to kiss Garth before he came up.
That's also the moment that I was talking about where she was having that moment of...
Yeah,
it's not talked about. It's not talked about once.
Harry tells him, and she's like, what the fuck? Everyone's crazy. And then he goes, sorry, we don't share our technology with Starfleet.
No, with anyone.
With anyone.
Because they're basically running on the same rules.
It's called a spatial trajector. I'm pretty sure this is actually, when you watch Picard season 1, it's the teleport device they use to get to Nepenthe when they're on the Borg cube.
Yeah, I have no clue what you're talking about.
I'm doing I think it is. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, they don't share the technology. They have a meeting and they talk about it and they decide, oh, maybe... Janeway obviously brings up the Prime Directive.
Yeah, and being like, hey, we have similar rules.
Well, yeah, you were instantly like, oh, that's the Prime Directive. And I was like, yeah, that's what they're going for. But then I think it's Harry brings up that stories could be used as a bargaining chip. And Janeway gets a little bit excited at that. And
then they start negotiations.
Yeah. Harry and B'Elanna have a nice moment at the end of that scene as well, where B'Elanna's sort of like, I want to scan this technology and find out. Yeah, Janeway said, don't do anything until I've spoken to
she wanted to go onto the planet and just like reverse engineer it.
And so Harry walks up and sort of taps her on the shoulder, which I love. And I've said this before, Harry and B'Elanna, I love their friendship in the first season.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a romantic thing, but it's certainly they care for each other thing, which I like.
Yeah, it's a thing that they're just like, oh, we're friends. Like,
yeah.
And he's really trying to support her because like he's obviously he has more ideals of Starfleet than her.
Yeah.
And he's trying to guide her into the right direction.
The one thing I've noticed, and maybe Janeway just has a bigger addiction later on, but she kept drinking, like all this season, and this episode in particular, she's drinking these tiny little coffee cups. Like she's having like a short black, she's not having like a big fucking mug of coffee.
Yeah, she's having like proper macchiato sort of
shit. Like it's
like pure coffee. Like it has to be pure coffee.
The thing is you remember that coffee mug she has later on because it has like a dent in it, and like she obviously drinks from it a lot. She like walks on the bridge with that coffee mug, but this one she's like a little saucer, like that. So that I found that amusing. Seska and B'Elanna are talking in engineering. Seska mentioned it's her brother's birthday. Like Seska's in this episode a lot. Yeah. I'm pretty sure she's in the next episode a lot too.
Yeah.
But so Seska's sort of like, she wants to get home, and then we find out that Lieutenant Carey like wants to get home. They want to find out. So they begin running like simulations on how this would work with Voyager, and it's interesting to see Lieutenant Carey come back, but also Seska, because they've been reoccurring a little bit, both of them. And it sort of shows that Starfleet and the Marquis want to get home. Which I think is good. Udana, Harry's girlfriend, takes him to meet another person who has the technology to spatially fold. But they want
No. Before that, Janeway and the magistrate have started negotiations. And the magistrate's like, oh, no, I can't make that decision by myself.
Yeah, he's got a
really enticing offer.
Yeah.
But I need to talk to the rest of the magistrate.
To the higher ups.
Yeah.
And then Udana takes Harry to meet a guy in a back alley, and offers him basically the trajector thing for Voyager's stories, which is basically the hard drive. And Harry immediately talks to, I think, was it Seska and B'Elanna?
Seska, B'Elanna, and Tom.
Yeah, Tom. And basically goes, I've got to speak to the captain about this. And the captain obviously is like, well, we can't go that way. We need to think. She has, I think she has a conversation with Tuvok at that time.
Yeah, it's got to do with her own morals and what she thinks is right.
You can't push it and stuff like that, which I like. I like the Tuvok-Janeway relationship as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think even throughout the rest of the series, like, Tuvok and Janeway are pretty solid. I think less so when she becomes closer to Chakotay, who barely appears in this episode. He has like
same as Neelix. Neelix is in it for one scene.
Do we need Neelix?
You always need Neelix.
So Neelix is in the beginning. He sees that they're offering food.
And he was a bit pissy. He was a bit pissy.
Yeah, but he's like, I know the Sakarans, they're legendary for their friendliness.
Yeah. But he seemed like he was pissy at the fact that he was being pushed out of the kitchen because he was just about to finish lunch.
Yeah, well, it's pretty clear that no one likes Neelix's food. Cass wasn't in it much either. She sort of just popped in. So there's a few characters.
In that same team. That's it.
There's a few characters.
Doctor's not in it at all.
No, not at all. But at the same time, Chakotay should have been in it. Because he's the leader of the Martin.
This was a good enough episode with that.
No, it was a good episode, but I mean, if you had Chakotay sort of questioning his loyalties, I think it would have been stronger.
Yeah, but I don't think he would question his loyalties.
Well, that's the problem. They've enforced the fact that he sort of lets Janeway take command, whereas B'Elanna's sort of a bit more rebellious, so it sort of makes sense.
She never finished her training at the academy. So.
Oh, we are only 10 episodes in. Like, should they all be that close?
Yeah, well, it's if we're going to use like TV logic, that's like basically a year.
Yeah. So Gath, Janeway's boyfriend, she goes to talk to him again to check whether he's talked to these magistrated people.
Yeah.
And he very quickly sort of dismisses because I've seen all of these necklaces. And we basically find out that he just enjoys new things and he gets bored of them really quickly.
Yeah, he's always chasing the new shiny.
Yeah, so we do find out that he's not going to help. Like, he sort of goes, oh, I'll speak to them when the magistrate get back. They're all on holiday right now, and you can stay forever. And that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And I'm going, like, it's pretty clear, like, why they want to go home. So Seska, B'Elanna, and Kerry discuss getting technology from the people. They come up with a plan to give them the story's information. This is the alleyway people.
Yeah.
And then Tuvok walks in and you think, oh shit, they're caught.
Yeah.
And then Tuvok takes the information and basically does it. He goes down to the planet to get the technology.
Yeah, he gets the technology.
Yeah. He brings the trajector back, gives it to B'Elanna, and then they put it in and they realise that the planet's integral to this spatial rupture.
Yeah, and so basically the layers of the mantle of the planet is like at such a thick level that it basically turns the whole planet into an amplifier. Yeah. A really cool concept.
You paid a lot of attention to this episode. You obviously weren't asleep during it.
Hey, I wasn't last episode.
So they try to activate it straight away before Tuvok can speak to Janeway about the fact that he's got it. And when they activate it, it pretty much causes the warp core, once something goes wrong, causes the warp core to overload.
Yeah, because it's been attacked by anti-neutrinos.
Yeah, and the way that they stop it is she just pulls out a fucking phaser and destroys it.
Well, it's like at that point it was like a
it was like the only choice because it was it was sold in. So immediately Seska goes, well, we can delete the files and delete the history and we'll try and cover this up. Yeah, and B'Elanna sort of goes, no, we have to own up to this. And Seska points out that she's changed, and she goes, I think I've changed for the better, essentially.
Yeah,
and I'm going, you know what? This is good character growth for B'Elanna. Like it's having Seska in her like that. So she goes to Captain Janeway and Tuvok's in there. She tries to take full credit for what happened.
Yeah, she tries to take full responsibility because she feels pretty fucking responsible. Like she was the person who's basically enabled this like the series of events to happen.
Yeah, and so Janeway is like, what? And then Tuvok pretty much goes, no, I did this. I'm a big part of it. I'm the senior officer involved. And I love the fact that she's like, I'll deal with you in a minute.
Yes.
Like, and then with B'Elanna, she gives her like the ultimate parent. Like,
yeah, it was a dressing down.
Like, not even a dressing down. She's like, I am disappointed in you, but I need you here doing what you do. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, man, she is the ultimate mum.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very, like nothing would hurt more than letting down Captain Janeway.
Yeah.
And so basically B'Elanna gets away with it scot-free, but is told, you do this shit again, you're in trouble. And then Tuvok gets his dressing gown, and she's
just hurt. Like, she's straight up just hurt. And this is like some of the best acting.
Kate Mulgrew. Like, this is the scene that makes her, I want to say, out of all of the series, out of all the episodes we've watched so far, this is the episode where she's like her acting's at 300%. Like, particularly this part, like, she's disappointed. she's hurt that he betrayed her, and he sort of says, "I did it for you because I knew you couldn't do that."
Yeah, it broke your moral code. So,
yeah,
but it was only logical to do it.
And
like, it made logical sense.
I love the line where it's just like, you can use logic to justify anything, but what you did was wrong. And he sort of admits to that, and then she's like, "But I need you here," and da da da. Like,
I need you as my counsel. Like, I need you to don't do that again.
Yeah,
like,
I need you
seriously.
to hold me up to this level. It can't be the other way around, which I loved. And then that when she sort of walks over to the bench, and it's really dramatic, like really dramatic. She walks over to the rail in her office, and she goes, "Dismissed," and you're just like, "Whoa, Kate Mulgrew, that is why she is the captain."
Yeah, no, she's like, I couldn't imagine that other actress doing that.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it. It's not good.
She's
but
like,
yeah, Kate Mulgrew, even Tim Russ, and can I point out, Tim Russ is the sort of he's the first full Vulcan we've seen
since Spock. Oh no,
Spock's not full Vulcan. He's the only Vulcan, and he manages to, except for those episodes where his mind's damaged and shit like that, but he manages to express Tuvok's feelings without showing feelings.
Yeah, there's no feelings, but there's like a vibe of a feeling.
Yeah, well, you genuinely sort of, it's the same thing. And as much as T'Pol is very different from Tuvok, the acting in the eyes is what gives it. Like, you can see the thought processes, and I think that's integral to playing a Vulcan character. I think T'Pol is obviously very different, but yeah, I loved that. And this is my favorite episode so far this season.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think next episode might make it good, but I think this is my favorite episode this season. I think this one emotionally grabs you. It's got a good story.
I forgot this episode existed.
I 100% did too.
Yeah,
I like
it's such a good episode.
I don't normally write notes for episodes, but this one, while I was watching it, had so many thoughts about it. And you know what my only letdown is? The fucking human people again.
Yeah, they had man buns.
They have man buns with like wiry shit. I'm like, why are we in the Delta Quadrant if you're just going to throw the same type of aliens at us all the time? But saying that, they worked really well with this.
Yeah, so I think the acting within the aliens is fairly good as well. Like, I think that was it's not normal to have the alien actors to be fairly decent. I know there's good actors that are.
Was it Gash?
Gath, I think.
Gath. Yeah. So Gath, he has like a I want to say he has an accent, and it's like a Fabio accent. He's like, "I cannot do this for you." And it was just like, okay, we an accent. And then I like the girl who played like Harry's interest.
Yeah.
I love seeing Harry put in these situations. Although he has terrible luck with love. But yeah, I forgot about this episode as well. Like, there were bits I remembered, but a lot of it I was just like, I don't know what's actually going to happen in this.
Yeah, no, it was a good episode. I thought this was going to be like halfway through the episode. I'm like, is this their first jump?
No,
I thought this was their first jump, because I know that there's a few jumps within the series.
I think 10 episodes in very early for a jump.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things that this episode actually plays well because they can't break their rules and this culture's rules.
Yeah, because they're basically the same rules.
Whereas when Q pops in, it's a little bit different. I mean, obviously we'll get that in the Q episodes, but like when they meet a race that can possibly help them, this is the first one where I thought they're a bit like unsure of where they stand in, which is what I like.
Didn't DS9 at this point in their series, like by episode 10, didn't they already have their Q episode?
Yeah, they would have. Yeah, definitely. But then
I've been expecting Q a lot earlier.
Let's not bring up. No, he doesn't come till later. Let's not bring up the fact that the Gamma Quadrant wormhole was probably closer than Voyager's travel to Earth, because lots of people question that. Did you not think about that?
What?
The end of the wormhole in Deep Space Nine ends in the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah.
Voyager's in the Delta Quadrant, which is right next to the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah, it would be quicker to
but the Alpha Quadrant's on the opposite side of the galaxy. So it would be easier a lot of people have said to just go to
The Gamma Quadrant.
and jump in that wormhole. Although technically there's a war going on, but I don't know if it was.
No, it wasn't at the beginning. At the beginning, it wasn't. So the Dominion War didn't start at that point because the Dominion War hadn't started. It was the Maquis rebellion with the Cardassian peace treaty, and that's the reason why.
There's a lot of Star Trek lore here. Go watch Deep Space Nine.
You're surprised I knew all that.
You go to sleep to it every night. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, best episode this season. Kay Mulgrew's acting is brilliant. The story actually is interesting. It's interesting to see them on the other foot. Like with the Kazon, they didn't give them technology, even though they are.
Yeah,
so it's sort of the opposite of that.
Yeah, but like the Kazon are war-like species.
Yeah,
but
I
think that'll be the difference. Like I think, and this is the thing. Like I've seen episodes where the Starfleet does break their rules, and their rules are normally broken on people who are not warlike, that are pretty, like they're emotionally ready for the technology, but they just don't.
Yeah, I genuinely, this is a good episode of Voyager. Like it's up there out of the 10 that we've watched together. This is up there.
Yeah.
But anyway, what did you think about the episode, Prime Factors? Make sure to write it in the comments or write anything you think. How do you feel about them going the wrong way to get back to the Alpha Quadrant?
You can't think too hard.
It would have been okay if it was before Deep Space Nine, but it's kind of silly.
Yeah, anyway, but like star maps are they're a bit hit and miss. They're not exactly law.
I don't trust anyone whose favourite character is Neelix. Anyway,
I don't trust anyone their favourite series is Enterprise.
Favourite series is an Enterprise?
You've told me it is.
No, it's not.
Then what's your favourite series?
I don't have a favourite series.
Oh. Backpedaling.
I like them all for different things. No, Enterprise.
Hey, say Enterprise!
I like them all for very different reasons. Anyways, I've been Trek Trav. This is Ribbit. Let's go before he says something else stupid.